when I was a kid, I got to live a pretty good 90s life. My parents together sort of made enough that we live in kind of middle class life in San Francisco. Got to go to, Great America like every other year. And, mostly the way we hung out and have fun was just barbecues with people. And that was the San Francisco life in the 90s. Lots of barbecues. You didn't have money to, go to Disneyland, but you had money for a nice barbecue. And that's the way you just partied. The kids played, Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 1. And the adults drank and talked story, and that was life in the 90s. But sort of getting closer to the 2000s, or maybe in the 2000s, I remember I was in late elementary school and middle school, and there would be times where literally all we had money for was like some peanut butter and jelly. Like, that was it. And so in those times, we had to go somewhere to get food, otherwise we weren't going to make it. My parents were working as hard as they could, but we just weren't going to make it. So one of the ways that helped was Project Open Hand. And this is not a sponsorship. They did not approach me. I'm telling you this story because it happened to me, because I needed help. My family needed food, and Project Open Hand was there and gave us food. We had wheat bread, which we'd never had before, and we learned to like it. But actually, some of it was really good. It just depended on what you got that day. So that was my introduction to wheat bread, and I think we had some organic foods too. Things that we're now regularly eating and do taste good, because people have really got the making of these things down. But yeah, without Project Open Hand giving us food, cereal, like things we could eat, it may have been some really rough summers, and we needed it during the summer, because during school we were PB&J, Lunchables, PB&J, Lunchables, PB&J, Lunchables. But during those summers when we were home, there was need for more food because we were home, and people were just home more. So it was those summers of the late 90s and early 2000s that Project Open Hand was a big help. So I wanted to say this because part of this show is an educational show. I'm not talking to you about my opinions. I'm talking to you about things that factually happened, things that you're watching on screen. And that's because people are talking about movies online more, and I'm just so tired of hearing people who don't study. It's nice to hear your personal reaction. That is the purpose of the movie. But I just want to give you a place where you can see something just about the information. And as long as we're talking about entertainment, the purpose of great entertainment is to tell you about something real. That is what truly makes movies great, when they reach that real place inside you. The spectacle should be there. I love spectacle. I love blockbusters, but the earth and the core and the foundation beneath it must be true. So the core of this is that while you're learning about entertainment and how it functions, I want you to learn about someone who could probably use your help. So I haven't donated yet. Last time I donated already. I'm a little more broke this month, but I'm going to donate to Project Open Hand probably next week when I get paid. If you're looking for something good to do, you don't know where to start, you won't just want someone to point you in the right direction, Project Open Hand is a place that supports families in need. So I was one of those families, and those people are out there. So this is a place you can help out. So Project Open Hand, San Francisco, that's where I'm from. There's a place. That was some stuff. Didn't really have anything else to say. I wish I would just cut to the main title sequence. Aloha nerds and welcome back to TheSalawag's Why It's Great. I'm your host, TheSalawag, and on this show I discuss the filmmaking techniques and storytelling choices that make my favorite films great. You can do your own Why It's Great about your favorite films. I'm talking about my favorite films. And today I'm doing another new movie review of Hardcore Henry. That's right, I think that Hardcore Henry is great. Now, I saw this last night with my dad, and I just thought, what an achievement in making a first-person movie. I mean, that was a ride. Now, again, this is a new movie review. I've literally just watched it, done no research. That is why the character is in color on the thumbnail, because it means it's new. Still pretty to me. I haven't looked at it yet. But, so, I just thought this was a great movie. It's going to be kind of a short review because, again, it's just based on recently watching it. So it's an actual review, but there's still a great filmmaking topic I want to talk about, and that is acting range. Now, what is acting range? Hold on. Is that better? Do you feel closer to me now? Isn't the way I'm acting now a little different, a little creepier, a little more intimate than it was when I was like this? That's called acting range. It's basically the actor's ability to either change character or emote and change emotion in such a way that they can, continuously tell a story. And some actors, especially character actors, love a movie or a show where they can really play their whole range, everything that they're capable of doing. And an example of this would be the movie the show Dollhouse, made by Joss Whedon. On that show, every single week, the actor got to play a different character because essentially the setup of the show is that the Dollhouse is a bunch of, slight spoiler, they're sort of mind-controlled people whose personalities can be swapped out. And spoiler, and that's how, basically they're able to swap out minds. So, with Hardcore Henry, you have the same kind of opportunity, but this time it's for the actor, hold on, gotta Google this one. I'm just gonna Google this. Oh, not visual voicemail. I'm Googling this. God, I should really prepare better. People are gonna think I suck. Well, some people already think I do suck. And some people think I suck things that I don't suck. Well, it's not yet. I'm not ruling it out there if I'm, really fucked up. Who knows? But in general, no thank you. At Red Letter Media, they would call that the not gays. So Sharlto Copley? Anyway, the guy from District 9 is the sort of helper friend in Hardcore Henry, the main guy from District 9. And I thought he was great in that, and apparently he was a producer, and the acting was his thing, his dream, and he did a great job in District 9, but when it comes to acting range, that is what makes this movie great. Now, on the surface, you can say, oh, it's kind of tiring, it's the same thing, but for me, as someone who watches movies a little bit differently, not more than anybody, but just differently than other people, one of the things that you have to be attentive with as a director is how you show your action. You don't want to show the same kind of action over and over and over again, otherwise it does become tedious to the audience. This is something that Guillermo del Toro learned when he made Blade 2. He didn't want to have every action scene just be the same flashy action scene. It couldn't all just be street fights or superhero fights. There had to be different styles of action. And that's why the blood pact in that movie is comprised of people with such different weapons and such different styles. One guy has a samurai sword, and one guy has a big club, and on the one hand, it's very comic booky, but on the other hand, it gives you a lot of different action scenes to watch, to thus not make you feel like you're just in the same sludge over and over again, which some people may like, but not everyone likes. So it helps just reach more people more efficiently. And in this case, with acting range, you have the same option, but it's a performance style of the actor. So in Dollhouse, you can play one episode as a controlled woman who knows what to do, or in the next episode be a victim, or in the next episode be a psychotic killer with no personality whatsoever. And that's what Sharlto Copley, that's what he got to do every single scene. Essentially, our main character is some kind of half human, half machine, Henry. And he's introduced to his wife, who's telling him this sad story about what happened to him, and she tries to rescue him from the facility. And essentially, the one guy running around trying to help this dude, who isn't, this whole company's after this guy. He's a huge investment, and so they're trying to get him at every corner. And it ends up being this guy, Jimmy Sharlto. I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, because I want to work with you someday. But essentially, he's there, always trying to help him get to a place where he can sort of repower his battery reserves and repair him. But the character of Jimmy keeps dying. Like the first scene we see them in, he's like a secret agent kind of guy, and he's driving Henry around, and he gets popped in the head by a sniper. But then Henry runs, and he gets into a bus, and this guy with his massive beard starts talking to him. And he keeps saying these weird things to him, this weird hippie stuff. And he goes up close, and he's really invasive. And Henry tries to wave him away. And, the guy finally says, "Oh, hey, come on, it's me, it's Jimmy." And he removes just like his sunglasses, and he's like, "Oh, it's Jimmy." And that's what keeps happening throughout this movie. Later we see him as a soldier. Later we see him as a complete square nerd. And the 70s Vice City sequence is the best sequence in the movie. I'm not even going to talk about it. You just have to watch Hardcore Henry, and you'll know what I'm talking about. If you can put the words 70s and make associated images in your mind of drugs and Vice City and all of that, then you know what I'm talking about. It's amazing. So I love this movie for that sequence alone. But yeah, acting range. It's really good when an actor gets to stretch their limbs throughout a movie and play different things. So I really gotta say, hats off to Hardcore Henry for doing that and giving an actor the chance to do that, because that's a gift to an actor to play many roles, to make audiences endeared to those different characters is a really tough thing to do. You've got to make people like you, but still have character qualities, traits, quirks, and unlikable things. The 70s character is a drug addict. He's a psychotic drug addict. And the bearded guy is a major stoner hippie who's like, doesn't seem to be totally paying attention all the time. And, that these characters still become endeared because we see one of them has a love life, and one of them just loves the babes and the drugs, and one of them's just an innocent little square person, and you as the audience member can be endeared and feel something when they go. And the soldier has his own dramatic storyline, and he's telling it, and he's the one who says that, hey, throughout this whole movie, I actually felt like you're my friend, just before he dies. And it's very sweet, and yeah, it's a little cheesy, and it's a little quick, but it's still well done. The execution was on point. And so hats off to Jimmy Sharlto, District 9 guy. I am so sorry, man. I am so sorry, because I really want to work with you, and who knows, I may have ruined it right now by being a bad podcaster who can't Google things before the show. So yeah, so hats off to them, and hats off again, technical ability, having that continuous camera shot, and somehow feeling like it's all the same day. It must have been a brutal shoot. I was way more engaged in this story than I was with even Cloverfield. I loved Cloverfield. I think that's still a great movie. But I just thought Hardcore Henry just hit me hard. It was just like, this is a whole new experience, a true, like the true first person experience, rather than sort of breaking the gimmick to get those dramatic performances out of the actors that you paid to be on screen. And granted, you still want that as an audience member, but this did it the perfect, clever way by really making it about the side characters and their part in the story, and making you be the just audience, nameless audience. And that, to me, is just the mark of great filmmaking. I don't agree with this whole complaining about it being, oh, it's an action, oh, I'm just kind of getting lost in the action. I'm like, I'm kind of glad that I see films very far apart, because I appreciate it more when I see something new that really astounds me, that I think is worth respect. And I think Hardcore Henry is worth respect. Just, again, use of acting range from an actor, the technical ability to make a 90-minute action sequence. This was literally 90 minutes of action, but really clever use of graduating the action. He doesn't go straight to punching people and shooting people from minute one. He is hiding, he's creeping around, he's doing everything, and literally each scene shows him learning something, and that lesson being applied later in the movie, even if it's the same lesson of kill this other person. So I think Hardcore Henry on a technical level is worth respect, on great use of an actor, great performance is worth respect, and I think it's great. I think Hardcore Henry's great. And a little side note, because I want to talk about Back to the Future again. One of the things that makes Back to the Future great is